Greetings and welcome to the Fighting Dirty Podcast, a show about two debonair, persuasive, and extraordinary friends and their views on tabletop gaming. On this week's episode, we got the blues, the post-Gen Con blues, and I'm your host, Matthew Wright, and as always, I'm joined by Gary Baxter. Gary, welcome to episode 14 of the Fighting Dirty Podcast.
We got the blues.
Yeah, man, we're back. Our Gen Con was great, so I think we're going to do a lot of Gen Con talk today, so I wanted to talk a little bit first about our Wednesday, if you don't mind. It's become a thing that we always do. We show up early. We like to go to the Sun King block party. So how did you feel about the beer this year, which was the Everlasting Gamer?
And it was an American Amber Ale, I believe, and it was good. I had one, and I called it at one. And I moved on to a beer that I prefer by Sun King, the Osiris. I enjoy that beer much more, so I tend to at least try it every year. It was fine. It is not my cup of tea when it comes to a beer. I enjoy a hoppier beer, and compared to years past, it was better than some. It was worse than some. It was kind of just, it was there for me.
I thought it was one of the better ones that they've had in the past few years. The last year was not very good. Was that the Spock one? The Live Long and Frothfur or whatever. I don't remember what that was called.
They've had several.
They're so punny.
They've had several Star Trek themed beers, so I'm not sure what it was last year.
Okay. Well, I think this has been my favorite in the past 3 or 4 years. So I actually drank 3 or 4 of them. I was pretty. I was feeling good. There's going to be some video that we're going to release, so you'll see how good I was feeling. So I was actually very excited for this party because we got to see a band we hadn't seen for nearly 20 years. We went and saw these guys in Chicago in 98, I think. Was it? 98, yeah. So it was 98. It was Local H. They were playing with another band, Brother Oh Brother, who was from Indianapolis, who are very similar to Local H. They were okay. Brother Oh Brother was okay. I just didn't know of their work, so I enjoyed it. But Local H came out, and it was fun. It felt like I was 18 again, or 17 or 16, however old I was then.
I think you're undervaluing what Brother Oh Brother did at the end of the show. They kind of did a DX kind of wrestling thing where they were flexing, and it was pretty amazing. The music itself was minky.
So that made up for it when they did the DX.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
They also switched instruments, remember? The guy
No,
was
yeah,
the
but they
guitar.
weren't very good.
No, of course, no.
No.
So I never expect a drummer to be great at guitar.
No, but Local H, they did put on a great show, and I have a bunch of videos, and we've released some of it. Some more is coming out, so just check it out on our YouTube channel. I will be posting that on all the different social media platforms. There's some really good actual just like concert footage that I have of like songs in their entirety, so if you like them, I'll just be posting that as like, hey, Local H playing live, and then also some little funny shenanigan type things because we were getting a little silly there, and we really were just having a great time.
I wish you would have had it recorded when I went to talk to the lead singer at the end. He was a little roasted by then, and so was I, so I don't think our communication was all particularly that well received by one another.
There was a high five.
Oh, yeah.
There was a high five.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool. And I was like, yeah, it is cool. It feels cool. Like, I was young, saw you guys. Like, yeah.
He's like, I'm old. Thanks. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Thanks. Call me old, you little.
No, I just think I think he was out of it, and he was just like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Fuck this. So
and it was great because we got to hang out in a larger group at that point, and it is really hard at Gen Con to hang out in groups of like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Like, it's just impossible sometimes to get tables, to get seating. Like, there are ways to do it for sure, but getting hotels, all this stuff, it's really hard to do in larger groups. And the Sun King on Wednesday, the Sun King block party allows us to
it's perfect.
To all meet up there and be together as one, because after that you're going to be splitting up and doing different things, playing different games, and it's just it provides you that opportunity.
Right. So what did we do after that?
We went to Harry and Izzy's. We had dinner. It was very much on the fly. It's something we like to do every year, and honestly, this year I was kind of just, I'm okay if we don't do it this year because we had so many plans, and the concert was going to end till late, but we went there after the concert ended. We got a seat outside, and we had 3 pizzas, and 2 shrimp cocktails, and 6 beers, and 2 calamari, and it was fabulous, and it was
awesome.
It was some of the best eating, but it jacked me up on Thursday. My stomach was jacked up from that horseradish sauce, but overall it was an amazing dinner. 5 stars all the time. Harry and Izzy's, we love them.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to Thursday, and we're going to combine everything else with this. We're going to talk about pretty much our general Gen Con experience. It's Thursday through Saturday. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the most amazing thing that happened to us. So we had a room lined up at the Conrad. It was supposed to be a double. And for some reason, they had it overbooked, and they upgraded us to the executive suite. And we walked in, and we were just like, oh, my God. There was 3 couches in there. There was a bed, a pull-out bed. They had a giant table for us to game on, 2 showers. It was
2 shitters, 2 Keurigs.
Oh my god!
It was amazing. 2 rooms combined together to make a suite, and it was on the corner overlooking like Capitol and Washington. An amazing view of Indianapolis. Spoiled. We were spoiled. The Conrad Hotel spoiled us in so many ways. Great service, great food. The breakfast every morning was amazing. The amenities, everything there. And we have been in all the hotels. We've stayed at all the various hotels in downtown Indy for Gen Con. And this one it blew me away.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to stay.
I know.
If I'm going back to Gen Con, I got to go to this hotel. Because after a couple days there, and I'm telling you, every night you got a great night's rest.
Yeah.
And believe us, we're the kind of guys literally slept in cars, had to sleep in the street. Just
we have.
And this was pampering.
Oh my gosh.
That's what this was. And by Friday, I was beat. My legs were beat. I was dog tired, boss. I was dog tired. And we made the best call of the night and decided to go down to their I guess their workout area, the spa area, if you will.
Yeah.
Indoor pool, hot tub.
Oh my god, we burnt that hot tub slap up. Oh. We sat in that. I would sit in the hot tub, I would jump in the pool, get back in the hot tub. I did this like 4 or 5 times. And then after that, after just relaxing, we're like, hey, they got a steam room. So we went back there, and it was burning up in there. So me and Matt stayed in there a good, probably, I'd say close to 10 minutes. The other guys couldn't handle it. Bruce and John were just like, nope, not doing this at all. But we stayed in there. We were just pouring with sweat. We came out. The next day, man, I felt like $1 million. I've not felt like that in years. You know what I mean?
I was so rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Like, you have to take a moment for yourself. If you're going to conventions and you're walking a lot of miles, and I don't track my miles, but I know we walked a lot of miles because it was about a 30-minute walk to the hotel and back to the convention. And it's all connected. It's all inside. It's just a very long walk because it's connected, and you could go there faster if you walked outside and all those things. Oh my gosh, it saved my life because I was feeling beat, and I was still tired on Saturday. By the time we got to Saturday night, I was just like, man, if I make it to midnight, I'm really doing something because I was tired, like mentally, physically tired. But that spa gave me new legs. I got new legs on Saturday.
Man.
And so the Conrad Hotel, we love them. Oh my gosh, the greatest stay I ever had at Gen Con, by far, hands down, the best hotel.
Oh, for sure. It was so good. I don't know how I'm going to get through any other Gen Con because it doesn't get better than that.
I know.
There's no way.
And I hate the idea of having to stay somewhere else and just not having those amenities and just having just that great environment. It felt so relaxing. There was a time we were sitting we'd walk back to drop off a bunch of stuff, and we were just kind of kicking it. It was like, I'm kind of just enjoying it here.
No, I know. We spent a lot of time
We
there.
watched like the whole second act of John Wick,
yeah.
and it was amazing.
Oh.
And Evo was also going on at the same time, so we were kicking it in the room.
Man, it was the best weekend.
It was an amazing weekend. And Evo's the Fighting Game Championships of the World, takes place in Las Vegas, and Gen Con and Evo never line up. And this year, 2 fates cross.
It was kind of awesome because the Conrad had such good Wi-Fi. Bruce brought his laptop. We just put that thing on. We were just watching it nonstop. He was playing Dragon Ball FighterZ the entire time. So whenever he wasn't playing that, we would just pop on Evo. We'd be playing games, watching that. Had the TV on, and just the room was freezing. And I love it when it's freezing. I know you don't like it so much, but it was just so comfortable. I
woke up in the middle of the night, froze to the bone. I only had one blanket. I didn't know where to get another blanket, so I just grabbed this robe, this big, thick, luscious robe, and curled up. Oh, I slept like a baby after that. It was so good. Every morning, sipping coffee, fresh fruit. Oh my gosh.
French
All right.
press. Oh
We
my
were
God. It was
we
insane.
were fawning over this. I'm sorry, but it was amazing. So the first thing we did was we had to deal with will call, and I'm sure if you have dealt with a will call in the past, you know it's a lot to deal with. I hate standing in that line. I'm a pain in the ass in those situations, so I'm sorry for that to all my
That's
friends.
all right.
Bruce, I'm sorry for bitching. I also kind of had some diarrhea issues, so it got really bad. But that line, at least an hour and 15 minutes, and that was ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
How is this? They're not some kind of like automated system at this point. Once you got up to the front of the line, after that hour and 15 minutes or better, it is literally a stuffed envelope system. That cannot be the most efficient system.
No. And they should be able to, there should be more booths. That line should be cut in half. You know what I mean? It should take 30 minutes to get
Should
to that
have
line.
a will call at every hotel. So if you check in your hotel, you should immediately be able to go over to a kiosk or one worker, and they could check you in and print you off a label like they used to and just give you your badge, print off your tickets. It is not that serious. Logistically, it was a nightmare. And because of the size and the magnitude and how many people are now showing up on Wednesday and Thursday as opposed to it used to be a Friday, Saturday kind of thing. Remember when it used to be way busier then? Now it's just busy the entire time. That will call line is a mess.
It literally
all
went
day
from-
Wednesday and most of the day Thursday.
It went from inside the convention to where the will call booths are to outside the fucking convention. Like, we were standing outside. It was hot out. It wasn't very nice. So like, we have a great picture of me standing in front of the end of the line. Like, lady, she has a sign just, this is the end of the line. And it literally travels through the whole convention center outside into the street.
There should have been a sign person on South Street by Lucas Oil saying the line starts over here, guys, because
Yeah.
we walk all the way through the convention center. We go way out of the way. If we would
Yeah.
have just known, we would have walked. We wouldn't have walked as far.
It was awful. There's got to be something better. Like,
Not that I'm complaining about walking.
No,
Like,
I know, but what you're offering, maybe they can't do. Maybe they can't have will call in every hotel. That's not possible, but it can be
They're
better.
partnered with every hotel.
I understand that, but they need to do something better. That
They're all
has to
volunteers.
improve.
You just have a volunteer, and you'd be like, you're going to be you 5 people are assigned to work a 24-hour day at this one booth at the Hyatt, and then 5 more people at the JW, and 5. They get the volunteers.
Yeah, I know.
So it's a nightmare to me.
Yep.
They can do better. It was my fault for not paying the money to get the badge, but regardless, I would have had to stand in that line at some point to get the tickets. And I had tickets for Wednesday night for the Fantasy Flight Report, and I was like, I'm not standing in that line to get those tickets.
We could have saved ourselves some hassle and got them then, but we pooped the bed.
I did.
Oh well.
But I didn't want to miss Local 8, so it all was a timing thing, and we had a great time. And I'm not complaining about any of it. I regret nothing.
Right, because we were standing in that line, we were able to only catch the end of the shut up and sit down show. So from what you caught of that, how did you like it?
It was great. The lighting was not good for me
No.
for taking pictures. So I couldn't get good video or pictures from where we were sitting because the lighting was just not good. Otherwise, I would have posted those already because I really like those guys. I like their reviews. I like their cheeky sense of humor. I like that they go hard on games sometimes.
Yeah,
and
they
I
do.
appreciate that about them. And not everyone does. So I really like that, and I respect that about them.
I do too.
And their show. So what I got to see, we saw probably 20 minutes or better. It was great. And it was nice to sit down at that point because it was already 10 a.m. I was like, my dogs are kind of barking from just standing. The floor of that convention hall is extraordinarily hard. So it's kind of like my basement floor here.
Yeah.
It is this thin little bit of carpet and just concrete. It takes a toll on your back very quickly. So
Right.
I was appreciative to be able to take a seat and get my camera out and do some stuff and play with it. And we took a lot of video throughout the convention. So we have some videos that we're going to release, and I think some of them are pretty good actually. So I hope to share that with you guys, and I hope that you check it out.
Yeah. Because we were a little drunk maybe on Wednesday, we weren't able to go to the in-flight report for Fantasy Flight. I heard it was actually kind of boring. A lot of people were saying it wasn't that great. But the things that came out of that I thought was interesting was Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. Everyone knows that I'm a big fan of that. And we actually had a podcast from Gen Con that we released. You guys should check that out. We were watching Brother Oh Brother, right? And then Roger started messaging us, say, hey, Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. I was like, oh my God. And it was funny. Roger goes, in one thread, Gary was just saying how awesome that is. And the other thread, Matt was just like, this is trash. I don't want to play
hater,
this.
man.
Yeah. And so the first thing we did Thursday is we went in And we went up to the demo there, and 3 people stood up and go, hey, do you guys want to play? So we all sat down. We actually have video of this, too. I think Matt's going to post some of that, too. And we got to play probably a good hour and 10 hour, 20 minutes. The game is a lot more streamlined than 2nd edition, and it actually plays a lot faster, I felt. Maybe it's because we had 4 players who knew what they were doing. The 4th guy wasn't a friend of ours or anything, but the kid knew what he was doing. He was blasting through it. He was giving actually good advice on what each player should do. The one thing I initially noticed that I hated right off the bat is a double-edged sword is the board. So I love the board from Arkham Horror 2nd edition. I love all the art on it. And a lot of that is lost because the board in 3rd edition is modular tiles that connect via little, what are they, alleyways they called them? Yeah, little alleyways. Streets, yeah. You lose a lot of that flavor that Arkham Horror 2nd edition had, but I think in the end it'll probably be a little bit better. It may not have as much like fluff, but in the end I think they'll be able to do more with the game because the board will be more modular, and they'll be able to adjust things that are imbalanced, like, you know, streetways, and maybe even add like a bigger board, you know, so what happened was there's 3 tiles up top. They were connected each to one another with street tiles, and then they had 2 diagonal tiles that went below them that were 2 additional tiles. So they could actually expand out. It could be maybe like 5 up top and 3, etc. It could be a bigger board. You know, you can just have more locations, and that's probably what they'll do with expansions and stuff. Instead of having the sideboards.
If you remember Arkham Horror 2nd edition, it's literally 2 tables, 2 8-foot tables,
2 8-foot tables together, and just tons of cards. So they'll be able to just, you know, instead of having sideboards, they'll be able to connect additional tiles that they can just do more with it. It'll save room. It'll expedite the experience of playing the game. So I feel like a little bit got lost in translation, but I can't judge it too harshly because when I did play it, I had a lot of fun. I thought it was really good. They took a lot from the LCG when drawing the reckoning effects. You draw from a bag just like you do in the LCG. They took a lot from Eldritch Horror. You know, the game in Eldritch Horror is more streamlined story-wise, so they took the newspaper headlines from Eldritch and put it into 3rd edition. So it's more streamlined. There's more of a story. Whereas like 2nd edition is just kind of random chaos, which is fun. I like that. And it I guess that would kind of be more like H.P. Lovecraft-ish. But, you know, sometimes you just have bad games where you're like, what in the hell is going on? You know, you can't even put together a story, where this is going to be more focused. You know, so, I mean, how did you feel about it? Did you feel the gameplay is I don't think it was mind-shattering. It's something that we've done. There wasn't much that was changed, but
at this point, I almost like, because I almost like it that we've played so many of the games, because it's, you sit down and you just kind of know how to play it already, and only a couple things are going to be different. And it's great with when the guy's running the game and he's really into it, and he's just running the game. He's not even a player in the game, so it's really nice to get a great demo. One of the best demos I've ever had at Gen Con.
I wish we'd have got that guy's name because he was really, really good. I would have liked to have emailed them and say, hey, this guy was great.
We're going to do that. We're going to find this guy. He was great. He almost looked like Christian Peterson's doppelganger.
Yeah.
He kind of looked like the guy, the CEO of FFG.
Maybe it was. Maybe he stepped down so he could demo.
No, unless he had a fake name tag. Yeah, that'd be cool. It was a great demo altogether. Mad props to that. And I usually enjoy Fantasy Flight's demos. A lot of times I get a really good demo. The game may not be great, but the demo's usually good. This one was just exceptionally good. So knowing a lot of mechanics before I sit down, now what do I actually think about the game? It's good. Does it replace anything? I guess it replaces 2nd edition to some extent. I like some of the streamlining that has taken place. I like the drawing of the reckoning effects. And the board in 2nd edition was very pretty, but there'd be so many freaking decks of cards on top of the board. It was cluttered to all get out. So this is better at keeping it cleaner. And if you remember in 2nd edition, the decks were also really big.
Right.
Big cards. These cards were smaller. The components that we had, I believe, were pretty chintzy.
No, I believe they're still in demo phase. And
I hope so.
They have to be. Because, they've had so many of these games out, they could have just borrowed components from that and just did it. And, but, yeah, there was very, very small cardboard stock. It was bad. So they're going to be much, much better. I don't believe that's going to be final. If it is, that's terrible, and I'll rip into them because that's unforgivable.
We're going to get it when it comes out.
Absolutely.
We like it. And at the price point, it doesn't have any minis or anything. This should be a $60, right?
Yeah.
If it's more than
65 MSRP is what it was.
Okay.
So it's right around where you think it. I mean,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So I really liked how when you would draw from the Reckoning bag, I don't know what it was, I'm sorry, I don't know what it was called, but it would put like Doom out on the board in each space. And when there was 5 Doom in a district, it would put, I can't remember what it was called, something.
It was like a portal.
It was, yeah, there's no more gates in it, which I was kind of like, what? There's no more gates? It was essentially a terror or a gate or something, and it went on in the middle, and it covers up all the clues, so you're not able to get clues, which you have to get to,
that was a really cool
to in the game.
mechanic.
I like that, because then you had to go
Changes it up.
and remove Doom. You had to do a, I can't remember what test it was. It was lore. Oh, it was lore. You had to do a lore to remove Doom, and for every success you rolled, you got to pull 2 off. And then when it said something like my character had, for every 2 Doom you pull off during this test, you can gain an upgrade, like a focus upgrade, which is essentially from Eldritch, where you get the +1 to whatever skill. And with those, you can discard your upgrades to re-roll. So that took the place of the clues. You know, when you spend clues to do that. So now you don't use the clues to do that. You use these little upgrades or focused upgrades to re-roll your dice, which I thought was really, really neat.
So I guess I don't have to retire my dice.
No, we can
From
just move
second
on.
edition.
Yep. They're still going to work perfectly.
And that was Arkham Horror, 3rd edition from Fantasy Flight Games.
All right, so this next one is very, very interesting. It's by Richard Garfield. It's called KeyForge, and it's through Fantasy Flight Games. Now, I sat down for a demo, and I did not have a good time. I got absolutely routed. Okay, so I had a really bad draw. We only played, like, to the first key. You had to forge 3 keys to win the game. So Bruce got to the first key very, very quickly. I had a really bad draw. I didn't really even get to participate in the game. However, the game is very, very interesting. There is no deck building in the game, so what'll happen is you'll pay $10 and you'll get a pre-constructed deck that's procedurally generated by a computer. It'll have this many commons in it, this many uncommons, this many rares. It'll have these different types of factions in it. And the gameplay goes like this. During the turn, you'll pick one of the factions of the 3 in your hand. You'll say, I'm going to play this faction, and you'll play that until you can't play anymore or you don't want to play anymore. Whenever a card comes into play, it doesn't have a cost. It just comes into play tapped. And then after that, you'll be done. At the end of the phase, you untap everything, and then the next player will go. They'll put their cards in, and they'll play tapped, and then at the end, they'll untap them. Then it's kind of like Magic. You start attacking each other. The monsters will take damage, and it's permanent. So, like, if you attack a monster, you'll deal 6 damage to it. You'll take little markers that'll put 6 damage on it. So if it has 7, it'll have 1 hit point left over. They do total damage back and forth to each other. It's just one number. It's not like a power and health kind of thing like from Magic. So it's more like Hearthstone in that regard. Okay, they'll do damage. It'll stay on there and it's permanent. It doesn't reset. You'll play every time you'll get something called Amber. You'll take 6 pieces of Amber, and at the beginning of your turn, if you have that much, you'll take 6 away to forge a key. And then after you forge, the first player to forge 3 keys wins the game. So there's cards in there that'll steal Amber or prevent Amber. Like Bruce got a really good character in play immediately. So whenever I would get the Amber, it would get stolen and put on that character. So I couldn't even do anything. It was awful.
So Bruce got the best deck in the world.
Yeah, or I had the worst draw of all time. So what's really interesting about that is that you don't know what you're getting when you buy a deck. So what'll happen is it comes with a little QRS code. You can scan it. It has the deck list on there. And I'm thinking you're going to be able to play this online. You scan the QRS, that deck's registered to you. They're probably going to set up a little like installed thing where you can just like, hey, I'm going to load up KeyForge and I'm going to play it just like I would with Hearthstone, you know? So you'll play against other people. It'll track how many wins and losses you have. I think it could be interesting. You know, the gameplay, I didn't get enough of a good demo to rather judge whether it was good or not. But I watched an interview with Richard Garfield, and he talked about back in the day when he was designing games, he really loved when they would release like starter decks. You know, you would buy a starter deck, you had no idea what was in it. It could be junk, it could be good, and he really liked that. He when they did Magic and these other games, you would just 2-player would buy, starter decks, you'd play, and you had to figure out how to use that deck to its full potential, as opposed to like constructing a deck down to the perfect, like this is the perfect spread of this card, this card, this card. Where a starter deck, you don't know what you have. You're just going to make do with the scraps that you get. So he was really interested in like that. He says it's a lost it's kind of a lost thing, and I understand why, because it's more fun to deck build and things, but if everyone's on the same level with this game, it's interesting. I think it could be good. I think it'd be fun to throw in a couple, $20-$30, buy 3 decks and see which one's good and just play against someone. It's very easy to play, so if it's not good, you're not out like hundreds of dollars. But I'm just wondering how well this is going to sell, how well tournaments are going to go over, because it seems awfully random, so I'm interested. I'm not saying this is a good game. I'm not saying I'm going to go whole hog into it. I'm just saying it's interesting. It's unique. No one's ever done anything like this. So hats off to them for trying. Honestly, I was thinking about it today. I think this is going to lead to something better in the future. I don't think this is the game that's going to blow up, but in the future, they're going to do something similar with this randomness, and it's going to be amazing. So this could be a building block to something amazing.
And I didn't get a chance to play it, but listen to you describe it. It sounds like a very interesting game. I'll be checking it out. I'm sure if you get a deck, and maybe I'll get a deck and we'll play. Competitively is what concerns me, but that's a niche crowd that wants to play it. Most gamers just want to have it, and so they can say they can play it against each other. And if the idea is very much just it's combat and forge keys, then that seems like a pretty cool game. Probably plays quickly, 20-30 minutes a game.
Yeah, it's quick like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's KeyForge by Fantasy Flight Games.
All right, the next game that we actually got to check out and kind of demo is Battle for Britain from Richard Borg and PLC Games or something like that.
Yeah. Sorry, we're kind of out internet here. We had a really bad storm the other day, so our Wi-Fi's down, so we're down and out, and we're just going from memory here, which isn't good.
It was a tiny booth. First impressions, I would not buy this game. I would not buy this game for $80. If anyone buys this game, I am sorry. These pieces are awful, and the components were awful. The cardboard was chintzy. The planes were chintzy on little stands. The guy demoing the game didn't seem interested in it whatsoever and didn't sell me in any way, shape, or form. It is not a Command and Colors game. That's what I thought it was. It is a battle of England versus Germany in air dogfighting combat, and it interests me in no way. And I like combat games like that, but those pieces were the worst.
The components were awful.
Those are some of the worst components I have seen. So you can get better components at the dollar store, at the Dollar General, at the Five and Dime, at the nickel store. Seriously.
In your daughter's toy box, anything. Dude, it was bad.
Definitely in your kid's toy box.
Yo.
These components were awful. So, Battle for Britain, that's all I'm going to say about it.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I don't even think if the demoer would have been excited for it. I wasn't, man. I was just like, I looked at it and I was just like, ooh. Ooh. It is just... Am I in the desert? Because this is dry. It was bad, man. And he was like, we're like, hey, can you go ahead and demo this for us? And he was just like, you go, you roll. He goes, I don't really wanna. But he's like, you roll the dice and the Iron Cross, and as a target, and they can use gas to fly, and you gotta have gas to get back, and you hit intercept the plane. And I'm not exaggerating.
You're not. He didn't know how to play that game.
He didn't know anything.
He didn't know anything about that game.
And so I don't know if it was the owner of the booth was just in the back on his phone. Just those shelves were stocked with that game, man.
$80 price point?
That was awful. Nobody cared, man. That was terrible. You'd think if you're there at Gen Con, you spent thousands upon thousands of dollars to get a booth in there. You have this brand new game by legendary designer Richard Borg. You would get someone who fucking loves airplanes, loves fucking Nazis, loves fucking Britain fighting Nazis, just everything, man. You get this guy, he could sell anybody on this.
He needed Dan Carlin.
He needed Dan Carlin. Like, the Nazis flying over and being intercepted. Wow. And just...
And the Red Baron.
He's just like, you roll in the dice and the rolls.
We've seen this guy later, though.
He's at Plaid Hat. Yeah.
Having a great time.
Oh, man, he was great. He was the best demoer I've ever seen.
This game's amazing. Here, let me run through all these mechanics. I know everything about this game. I don't know. I don't know about that life. About that demo exhibitor life. I don't know that. I don't know anything about it. I'm not judging anyone. But I'll just say it was a bad demo for a bad game, and we've probably talked about it too long. That's Battle for Britain.
Oh, man, that's sad. Well, this next one is very, very interesting. We have a good story about this one. Oh. So it is Forbidden Sky. You went Thursday to try and grab it. You were unable to because it sold out almost immediately. Mm-hmm. And plus, we got there late. So Friday, we got in there, and you're like, I'm going to try and get Forbidden Sky. Mm-hmm. And we got tied up doing something. I don't remember what it was. But then anyways, we came back to the line, and it was like 20 deep, something like that. And so we're sitting there, we're like, hey, do you have any copies? And he's like, yeah, we got this many. You look over, there's probably about 9 copies, and it's 20 deep. So we're like, oh, no. So the guy's like, maybe you'll get one. And so Matt was standing in front of me, and then I was behind him. I didn't plan on buying it, but Matt wanted it, so I was just standing in line with him. And the guy's like handing out tickets to like maybe about halfway up the line. He's like, you'll get one, you'll get one. And it slowly started getting to Matt, and there's like 2 or 3 tickets left. And finally, the last ticket, gives it to Matt. He goes, you get one. And I was like, well, there you go, man. See ya. Matt literally got the last copy of Forbidden Sky. So we were super excited. We got one. I would say this is probably the hottest game there. There's probably this, Root, and Detective. So I was really, really happy that we got a copy because all the other Forbidden games are fantastic. We're going to burn this one up this weekend. And you actually got to play a solo game with 2 players. And how did it go?
A solo play with 2 players. Yeah, I got destroyed. It is hard. It is a very hard game. I definitely need some more minds in there. It plays a lot like those other games. You have a roll card, like your roll, and it allows you to do certain things. You have health, and then you have rope.
Oh, rope!
Yeah, because you're on a platform, and when the wind blows, if it ever blows you like off the platform, your rope saves you. But eventually, your rope runs out.
Did you ever get blown off of a platform?
No.
Did you ever get blown on a platform?
No.
Oh, okay.
So you have both platform damage or rope damage, then a little rope damage, and then you have your physical health. And the health, I feel, it's tough because if at any point you're connected to like circuits, and this game's kind of cool, so it's like if there's circuits all over the place and you're hooking them up, and some of them are on the physical tile piece, and then some you're going to add yourself, like physical circuit, and you're going to connect them to lightning rods. The game starts with 1 lightning rod, and periodically more lightning rods come out and they conduct electricity. So after a player takes his turn, you'll do the bad stuff, which is the wind blows, the danger rises, and a lightning bolt will hit. And if you're connected, and it's so easy to be connected on the board that like every time the lightning strikes, unless you're on a couple spots or you've like gotten yourself off into like a sanctuary, like you're gonna take some damage. And It just like it runs through the whole map, and it's really cool, but it's very hard. So I didn't look at all the different character roles because I like to be surprised, so I picked 2 roles. One of them was a guy who can move the other player around, so that's kind of cool for an action. And then the other person that I played was the knotsmith, and he can fix his rope or another player's rope.
I see.
I feel like we need a rope guy and a health guy to play this game because it is tough, and I think you kind of need to stick together.
Like the wind knocks you off? Is that what happens?
Yeah. So like after a player takes his 4 actions, and that's move, scout, explore, and wire. So basically get tiles, play tiles, or build wires. Nice. That's like all your actions.
All right. Well, I can't wait to get blown this weekend. It's gonna be great.
You're gonna get blown off that platform.
I'm excited. I'm literally excited.
Slightly aroused.
All right, that's Forbidden Sky. This next one is one that I'm very, very surprised that we came home with. Now, I guess not, because we talked about it. We were interested in it. Mm-hmm. It's Brass, Lancashire by Roxley Games. And I think you were this was on your list, wasn't it, of 5?
Yeah. I definitely wanted to check this game out.
Yeah, so we went over there, and we had the guy run us through a little demo. Much better than the...
It was hard to find their booth.
Yeah, well... I don't know. We were looking at the Gen Con map. We walked by, and we're like, their booth should be right here. And I'm like pointing to my left. I'm like, it should be right here. And I look over there, and it's there. I was like, how did that happen? I guess there was just a bunch of people and like a wall of people.
They had a smallish booth.
It was a small booth, and there was a lot of people there. Yeah. It was very popular. Mm-hmm. So we went up to it, and the very first thing I noticed was the box art is insane. It's that really pretty black with the, I don't know if he's like a conductor or a baron or something, and it says brass and gold, lettering. So, you look at the components of the game, and it looks like just a nice looking game. The board looks fantastic. The components look really good. And we had him run us through a quick demo. I've never played this game, and I looked it up, and it's like in the top 50 of board games, which is insane to me. How did I miss this? It's one of those games that's about the Industrial Revolution, so I'm just probably like, I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. So the guy demoed it. He showed us how the game's played. It's played over 2 rounds. You play over the canal era, then the rail era, and I was just like, dude, this looks right up my alley. It looks like a more like hardcore, like kind of like a Ticket to Ride plus Great Western Trail plus heavy ass Euros. So I was just like watering, and you're like, let's get it. And I was like, I don't know. And I was just like, man, I really want to get it. And you're like, we'll come back, And I was like, well, how many copies are left? And he's like, there's 4. And I was like,
no, at that time there was like 20 something. He's like, there's like 20 something copies.
He said they brought 20 and they had 4 left.
Oh,
yeah. So you're like, I'm gonna go get Forbidden Sky, and so we walked from the 500 era all the way to 21 something.
2100.
When we got there, we got in line. You got your ticket, and I go, I'm going to buy brass. I walked all the way back, and then you text me, where are you? And I was like, meet me in the middle, Plaid Hat, and that's where we met. Then we saw that guy. It's all coming together. So, yeah, I just like, it was in my mind the entire walk over. I was like, that game looks so good. That game looks so good. And so I brought it home. I didn't plan on buying it. You and I had planned on splitting it. So I was just like, you know what? He bought that. You bought World of Warcraft, the board game in the auction. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to spend. I'm not seeing anything here. This is the first thing that I actually wanted. So I picked it up.
That's a great game to add to the collection. And you got the upgraded components. So it was like $75. But that's what I believe that's the same price it was on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You could get both for $75 a piece.
It was like $150, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
I want to try this.
You're kind of doing it.
Yeah, I'm halfway doing it. So
I can't wait to play it. I feel like that's a game we need to start a little earlier in the night. It probably runs 3 hours.
Yeah,
at least on the first play for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very simple to play. I read the rulebook, and is hands down one of the best rulebooks I've ever read. It's laid out so perfectly, and at the very beginning they state, hey, if you're not into reading rule books, or you're a better visual learner, go to this website, and here's where we have tutorials and stuff like that. And it's just laid out perfectly. And I feel like once I read it, I was like, I have a very, very good idea of how to play this. I'd make obviously a couple mistakes, but I feel like I already know how to play. And then it's just one of those games, like when I read the book for Chaos in the Old World, I was like, this is going to be one of my favorite games of all time. And I'm not saying this is going to be one of my favorites, but I'm super excited to play this one. I think we should definitely play this one this weekend. Got to start earlier because it is going to take a couple hours. So very, very excited for Brass Lancashire by Roxley Games.
And that'll be totally doable to play that if we get people out a little earlier, because I do want to play the Mind.
Yeah.
And I want to play a game of Forbidden Sky with the group. And then if we played Brass, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, the next one is the Subatomic atom building game from Genius Games. And this is something you were excited for.
I was.
And I was like, let's go look at that Subatomic game, because we were kind of we did a really good job of not wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
And so all the time I was like, what are we demoing? I go, Subatomic, let's go check it out, because you wanted to do it, so we went and did it. What'd you think?
I didn't like it. I felt like the game was cluttered, and I thought it would be a game that I really thought my kids would enjoy. And after seeing the demo, it's a deck builder. I don't think they would like it. I really don't. I don't think the theme came through all that great. Mm-hmm. It was interesting. I liked how you had to have protons and neutrons and stuff to purchase the other cards. But it just felt like another deck builder, and I don't think my kids would be into that. I love the theme. I loved that they also had books that was like women in science and all this other stuff. They had a lot of ancillary material that you could buy about chemistry and scientists and women scientists and things like that. But the game itself, I wasn't digging it. I can't even honestly explain why I didn't like it. The demo was fine. I guess it wasn't. No, I'll take that back. The demo wasn't fine, because Matt goes, hey, can we play a few rounds? And he wouldn't let us play a few rounds. Like, I was like, deal me the starter deck. Like, let me see how this goes. And he was just like, no, this is how it is. Because I didn't touch a card, you know what I mean? He was just like, here's what you do during this round, here. And it's just like, oh, man, I'm not getting this. I wasn't picking up the vibe there.
I wasn't impressed with it at all. From a perspective of potentially teaching someone about chemistry, it's pretty small.
It's thin.
Whatever you'd be able to teach to them. And I was like, so how many elements? And he was like, well, it's only the first.
It was the first couple. It was like they had hydrogen, helium, and I don't even remember much about it. There wasn't a lot.
You needed, and I was like, so how high does it go? And he's like, well, if it went more than a few, then it'd be too much. I was like, well, then you got to figure it out with your components, you know? I mean, if you really want to teach kids about science, if you're really trying to ingrain them into the importance of the elements and how it's a building block for later in high school when they need to pass chemistry or college, you're not really helping them out a whole lot. It's kind of a real thin game.
It was super thin. What it would really teach is that they had scientists that you could purchase that gave power to your deck building. You know, so you'd kind of be like, oh, what did this scientist do? You could look that up. And, you know, the shells had certain amount of protons and neutrons and electrons. And but that's not a whole lot. I mean, that's kind of like first week chemistry. You learn that. And, like, I don't know, the game wasn't the amount of game wasn't there along with the amount of teaching that I thought it was going to have. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I'm not saying it's a terrible game by any means. It just wasn't what I thought. So,
and that's Subatomic, the Atom Building game, Genius Games. The final game.
Oh,
is this it? We're not going to talk about any more games?
No, we're best for last.
We saved the best for last, as always. And we got into a little bit of Magic the Gathering.
Oh, no. We're back. It pulled us back in. I thought I was out, man. I thought I was
And we started,
out.
we just got us a little booster box. Had about 10 packs in it and a bunch of land.
So we bought the 10-pack Core 2019 starter set. It had enough lands for you to build a deck. And so we decided, we're like, hey, man, my cousin Bruce was there. Like, let's do a little draft tonight. So we're just going to do like the draft. And I go, no. I go, let's buy this 10-pack starter deck and we'll make an actual 60-card deck out of this. And everyone's like, you know what? That sounds awesome. So it was me, you, and Bruce initially. And then Roger was watching us open packs and looking at you. He's like, oh. So he went and bought one too. And man, I got to say, it was awesome. I'm not, hey, breaking news. Magic the Gathering is awesome. And so, we built decks. It was a ton of fun. Like, I was just like, the bug re-bit me. And it's crazy because, you guys were like, I don't know the game anymore. And there's just different things. And it's still there. You know what it does. We explained how Planeswalker worked to you guys. And you guys were just back in it. And everybody had a good time. Well, Roger didn't have a good time his first couple of games because he couldn't do anything. He was getting mana screwed nonstop.
I was getting worked too.
Yeah, we all
got
worked. So I think I ended up going 2-1. Roger actually beat me. I got mana screwed horribly the last two games. I won the first, and then he won the next two. I couldn't draw anything, but beat you, beat Bruce. I think you beat Roger and lost to me. No, Roger beat you?
I didn't play Roger.
Oh, you didn't play Roger?
I got beat by you and Bruce. Beat me.
Oh, okay.
That was it, and then we kind of just wrapped it up.
Yeah.
It was like we did a couple of drafts, and honestly, if we did a couple of drafts at Gen Con, that's $18 a pop. So it was like, we get to keep all those cards. It was fun. It was like riding an old scooter you'd had tucked deep in the garage, and you decided to dust it off, and you kickstarted it, and it just started right up.
Except after you ride that scooter, you don't go back to the convention center to buy another box of cards like we did.
Yeah,
oh, man.
No, I'm going back.
It was killing me. I was like, dude, I just want to buy more cards. I was scratching my neck. Hey, you got any more than cards?
More than Magic cards?
Oh, man, it was awesome. It was so cool opening packs again. I felt like...
I'm back, baby.
I'm back.
If that means I got to buy less board games, then fuck it.
I know, because, so we tried L5R, and it fell so flat. And, you know, you got some Android Netrunner cards. We never got into that. We played some Game of Thrones. I don't think you ever played that, but I had a couple buddies.
I didn't buy any of that.
Right. And just I want a card game. Barring Arkham Horror LCG, which you actually do enjoy.
I like it.
You don't need to buy anything, though, because I have everything. But a competitive card game, I've not found anything that matches Magic. And I feel like I can temper myself this time. Oh God, I can't. I just realized I can't. So,
I need a pack. I got a pack and they have it.
You just take a patch or a pack and put it on your arm. You're like, oh, my patch.
You got a magic patch.
Yeah, a magic pack patch. But anyways, so
I got a bad pack a day habit.
I
Magic.
I got a 10-pack a day. Oh my God, you smoke that many cigarettes? No, Magic. That's worse.
Yeah, let's $30. You're spending $30 a day on Magic.
Oh my god, you're playing
You're a
some
king.
Magic. That guy's playing some Magic. Oh wow. So anywho,
It was amazing.
It was
I'm
awesome.
glad to be dipping my toes back in. And guess what? Next payday, I'm getting a box of Magic cards.
I know.
You gotta spoil yourself once in a while.
I know, and we talked about it too. We're like, hey man, we can just buy it. We'll buy a box, and we'll just have drafts. Like if anybody wants to draft, throw in $10. You get 3 packs. We make decks and we play. It's so fun. I love just building little decks, coming up with our own little whatever you can cobble together from those cards. It's so fun, man. It's incredible. So I just feel like this is what I've been missing out. And it's crazy because I already knew how good the game was. I played hardcore in the past, but it just felt so fun to get back into it. And everybody had a good time. Nobody was like, this sucks. I shouldn't have bought these, wasted money. No, it's just like, that was great. That was fantastic.
A box of Magic cards cost $90. I've backed like $1,000 worth of shit on Kickstarter last year, so I don't feel bad about spending $75 on Magic and having a great time.
Yeah.
And getting something that has some value. Some of these games aren't worth anything.
Yeah, they're not worth
Some games
anything.
hold their value. That was the cool thing about going to the auction at Gen Con. We spent probably 4 or 5 hours in the auction total.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no crap about it. Sometimes you go there just for a little reprieve and just to have a seat and to relax. And other times I'm there aggressively trying to get some stuff.
Yeah.
And some games hold their value. And, like, when the Kickstarter stuff comes up, like, yeah! People go crazy for it. And then some games come up and it falls flat.
What was that game that was just sitting there all week and you're like, that game just came out? It wasn't selling.
Oh, Immortals?
Yeah, Immortals.
From Queen Games.
Yeah.
And I almost bought it the first day. I was like, oh, it's only $40 because the year before it was $80. And it has like a cool dice tower thing inside of it. Excuse me. And that's like the combat in the game is you're like dropping cubes in and whatever cubes come out. It's a very random way to do combat. Man, that game ain't worth $40.
No.
Because it sat there at consignment all weekend, and it was for sale for like the exact same price
Yeah, it was
from
going for like
Queen
30.
Games. And Queen Games makes good games.
Yeah.
But this one just hasn't resonated. And I was like, I don't want to... Gary will tell you, I don't want to carry that shit.
No.
I'm down very light. We're rocking
you joined the
fanny
club.
pack, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like a ninja. I refused. It was like... At the end of the night at the auction, I was like, I got these games. We got to take them somewhere. I am not carrying these games around. I don't have a bag. And it was like World of Warcraft weighs like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I bought Kemet, which I'm super excited for. So
yeah.
the auction was amazing. Another really cool thing, and you got some cool stuff in the auction.
Yeah, I got Sid Meier's Civilization, the older one, with an expansion for $30. And so like I got this
That
game.
might have been the best buy of the con.
I was going to like 60 or 70. I was like, man, I looked it up and I was like, brand new. I was like, both of them is about 100. So I was like, I'll go to like 70. This will be a great deal. And so like he's like, it is Civilization with the expansion, Fame and Glory. He's like, let's start at $20. I put my thing up, 25, 30. It goes to 3098 for $30. I was like, what? Because I thought a lot of the games have reserves on it, and the game had no reserve on it. And then 6 games later, he sold just the base game for $40. So I got that in the expansion for $30. I was like, what happened? I was so excited. And then I opened this thing up. This guy had everything sorted. He had an extra rule book printed out. He had shit laminated. I stole from that place. I cannot believe I got this game for $30. I'm so excited. Although I opened it up, I was super overwhelmed. There were so many components. The rule book is like a textbook. But I'm gonna do it. We're gonna get it in. It's gonna be great. And I thought we could do this. This would be neat. We could do a comparison of the new one and the older one, and that'd be a cool video.
That's a great video.
Yeah. So yeah,
I enjoyed A New Dawn, but this one looks meatier.
Oh, it is. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm ready to chew on it.
Yeah. So the auction was great to us this year. It was fantastic. So one thing that we got to see this year that we've never seen that we always talk about is Card Hall getting destroyed by quarters, nickels, pennies, anything you can throw at it. So we went in there. First thing you do is you try and get a good seat. It was packed. I couldn't see anything. I had to go to the back in the back corner, kind of arc my head. My wife had showed up. She couldn't see anything at all. So all of a sudden, you just hear ping, 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 ping. My wife's like, "What is happening?" I was like, "They're destroying the card holla." So that was awesome. Just seeing those giant towers just topple was so fun. It's for such a good cause. You know, all that money goes to charity, and it was just exciting. You know, the fervor of the crowd and just trying to knock stuff down. And then when finally like a big tower would come down, the whole crowd would just cheer. It was great. I want to go every year from now on. I thought it was so fun.
And that was Saturday night, and we were already out doing some stuff, and I was like, we gotta go to the bathroom. So we go to the bathroom at Gen Con, and it just happened to be the card holla thing, just happenstance, and it was amazing. And I tried to take down this AT-AT that was built, and that thing, the construction on that thing, I was like, take the legs out. I had about $2 in quarters.
Yeah.
And it was just like pelting the legs. Nothing, dude. Would not budge. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
They really need a mic. The guy needs a mic.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to hype that thing up. They're trying to raise money, and he'd be like, we're trying to reach a certain amount of money. I'll put in this amount.
Yeah.
It's just like, it kind of falls flat if he can't hear you. He needs a megaphone. He needs a little karaoke machine. Would be better than what they had. So, and they're raising tons of money. How much did they raise?
I don't know how much they raised. I don't have the number here, but they usually do really well. I think they combine that with the auction. They have some of that money set aside that goes to charity. So I'll find the number for next podcast, but they usually do pretty well for themselves. But another charity that did really well was Jack Vassell Memorial Fund. It raised more than $50,000 this year. They usually auction off playing games with some of the other podcasters and celebrities in the board gaming industry. So they do a lot of good. I remember one year some family had some issues, and they were able to help them get back on track. It's such a neat fund and memorial. So I'm so happy that they keep raising money to help people out in need. This next story is one that I know you have a lot. You've looked into it a lot since. I don't know how much you want to talk about it. I haven't looked into much of it, but you and I were sort of talking about it before the podcast. Apparently at Indianapolis, there was a YouTuber by the name of... I don't know. So, that was part of the stipulation of Matt talking about this. He didn't want to name names, okay? He doesn't want to give these people any type of bump in this because he has some thoughts on this. So anyways, I would say right-wing sort of YouTuber-ish type of guy. See, I don't know. He got punched by a game developer who was one of those like social justice warriors who's like, I punched Nazis. And this whole hubbub about it this weekend, and everyone was talking about it. Oops, excuse me. Everyone was talking about it this weekend. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this real briefly. What do you believe actually happened? What do you think both of them are saying happened? Will anything come of this? Is this just something that people are blowing out of proportion? How do you feel about this, Matthew Wright?
The whole thing bothers me. There should not be any violence whatsoever at Gen Con. It is gaming utopia. That's really where I want to start with all this. So giving anyone any whose fault it is, who's the victim, did it happen? I don't know. I wasn't there. I think it's idiotic. I really do. And it's just taken on such a bigger life. And one of these guys has a fairly large platform, 100,000 viewers and subscribers on his channel. And he got hit. For whatever reason he got hit. Who knows? He's all over the internet, though, and he has followers, and they're very supportive. The whole weekend was strange because they had the guest speaker this year was, help me out,
Anita Sarkeesian. She does a video series on YouTube about sexism in video gaming, how women are mistreated in video gaming and other sexual issues that are portrayed in video games, things like that. She's very, very polarizing. People either love her or they hate her. So it's just one of those characters. I'm sorry. Women are not characters. Women are people. I'm sorry. I'm just teasing. Anyway, she's one of those people that when she shows up, it's either you love or hate. It's not like, I would like to listen to what she has to say to learn something. It's not one of those things. It's
so the I Punch Nazi guys posted, if anybody's got a problem with her, come fight me. All right? And that was posted on the Twitter, and then later in the night, allegedly, and who cares, he punched a guy in the face and broke a window. the judicial system will take care of
Yeah,
this, and I just feel like the internet has just taken over, and it was like, I'm reading through the threads, and it's like, Fortran, you know what to do. We've tracked this guy down, and he's this, and he's that. And what is Gen Con's role in any of this is what I have to say. Like, I don't feel like if something happens at a bar, how is that Gen Con's responsibility?
It's not.
They can't, security, people are complaining that security is not good. They're at a bar, so it's bar security. Not every bar is affiliated with Gen Con. Most are not. So whatever bar they're at, and maybe they were, maybe they weren't, I don't care. Like, Gen Con doesn't have any affiliation or owe this guy anything. And if a game designer or a guy who owns a game company or someone who's working in the exhibit hall has beef outside the convention, I don't see how those things overlap.
Okay.
And I don't think that Gen Con has the right to say who's right and who's wrong when there should be cops that decide those things and
Right.
lawyers and judges. Like, and in the moment it's like, well, you're saying this and he's saying that. How do I get to decide? And it didn't happen inside Gen Con. Yeah. So even though you might be attending Gen Con or working for Gen Con or whatever, I mean, he paid Gen Con to be there if he had a booth. Gen Con's not paying this guy.
Right.
So he's doing them a solid. So I just don't like it. It gives it a bad name. It gives it a bad reputation. I don't hear about people fighting at BlizzCon. That wasn't something I saw. I'm sure fights exist everywhere, and I'm sure there have been fights at Gen Con before, and they will be fights at Gen Con thereafter. But there shouldn't be, and that's really the long and the short of it. And I find it offensive because I want to go out and have a good time. I don't want to worry about getting punched in the face, and some guy thinks I'm a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi, but who are you to judge if I'm a Nazi or not? And so I feel for the guy because he got beat up, and I've seen him, and he did get beat up, and whatever he got beat up for, maybe he deserved it, maybe he didn't deserve it, but no one deserves to get beat up at Gen Con, especially out of the blue. It's a messed up situation. I don't like that it's getting the publicity. I also don't like, from what I've seen, is that like there was a Twitch stream from Gen Con, and anybody who brought it up got banned. They got banned from the stream. Did you see this?
No. What?
That
Tell
makes
me.
So there was some kind of Twitch stream, and on the Twitch stream live from Gen Con, people in the comments are posting, so how's the security there? What about the fight? Da-da-da. Those people would get immediately like a temporary ban.
Okay.
If they continued, they'd get a perma ban, and then eventually became like no one. Supposedly, I read this, so forgive me, Twitch, if I am wrong, that eventually they made it so like people like new accounts and stuff. If you're new to Twitch, you weren't
they
allowed
put
to
it in
comment.
subscriber mode. So
Something like that.
Okay.
So it was just like they limited how people could comment
Yeah.
on the thread to keep people from just jumping on it.
Oh, okay.
Especially if you haven't been active on it. Why would you
That's
jump on it?
crazy,
So,
man. So like, people just need to calm the fuck down. It's so lame. People blow everything out of proportion. A bar fight happens.
This is that. This
I know,
is
this
a
is
snowballing perfect account of this bullshit that we're living in. Like, everyone's a fucking social justice warrior, or everyone's a beta cuck, or whatever,
Oh
or
my
a
God.
right winger, and it's just like, it's toxic, man, and it's infiltrating everything. And I go to Gen Con every year to get away from that shit.
I do too, and it, this may be insensitive, and this might be a sensitive issue, but it's just, one of our buddies, I'm not going to name, was just like, man, he goes, I want to play games here, but everybody and their brother just like flies their freak flag here, and I just want to chill. I don't care that they do that, but it's just like they got a fucking sign that says, I'm a elephant that has 3 eyes that plays Xbox only, and if you're not, you're wrong. And it's just like, nah, man, everyone's cool. Everyone's different. And it's just,
I don't feel like is that the place? Is this the time and the place? Like, I just feel like it's a place to go and play games.
right.
And just have fun.
And exactly, like, so why does it matter who or what you are? That's not why we're there. We're there, to play games. Like, I don't get it. And for people to bring all this bullshit lately,
And
it's old. It gets old. I don't care. I don't care that you're gay. I don't care that you're yellow, you're purple, whatever color you are, and whatever. I'm a white guy. I can't talk about this stuff apparently anymore, but it's old. I want to know you as a person. I want to play a board game with you. That's all I want. I don't give a shit about anything else. And it's tiring. It's so fucking tiring, dude. I'm 35 years old. I love everyone. I get along with most people, and I I just want to go there and play games, relax, chill in the sauna at the Conrad. You know what I mean? Drink some beer at Sun King. I'll rub elbows with anybody there, man. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. I mean, seriously, you can attest to this. How many years ago was this? We were walking down the street. There was two obviously gay guys. I was drunk. I went up to those guys and I was hugging them. We went to the bar with them, remember? And like another buddy got super weirded out because they're like, dude, those guys were gay. I was like, I don't care. And neither, like, they're not my boyfriends. They're just dudes and they were cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I don't need to justify myself either. I'm just saying that I don't care about any of this, and we don't need to bring this bullshit here. We don't need to ruin Gen Con for a cause. No cause is worth ruining Gen Con for everyone. And let's stop this shit. Like, who cares? Who cares if someone voted for Trump? Who cares if someone likes this game that you don't like? It's not a war. It's not a fucking war. Yeah. It's old. It's got to stop.
This is just going to keep going apparently because it's got a lot of traction when it comes to the clickbait at this point.
It's awful.
It'll just keep going until it's into the ground. I really don't expect a whole lot to come out of this. I really don't. And it's just bad press. All it is bad publicity for Gen Con and for the people who like to go to it. It's like, and the people in the thread are just like, it's not safe and Gen Con's not a safe place, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So it offends me.
I'm offended. I'm a Gen Con safer. There was a thread on Gen Con. This girl was cosplaying.
Oh yeah.
Did you see this? There was a guy that was upskirting her with a camera, and they caught him. Like, so I don't know if it like. I think it was a person at the booth caught him, or maybe it was two guys that were just randoms. Mm-hmm. They caught him and they stopped him. Yeah. I mean, they did a good thing. There's stories that, like, everyone's there to help everyone. Most people, I mean, the scumbag is banned from Gen Con now. Yeah. They took care of it. This guy can't come back. Yeah. The convention center themselves banned this guy.
But it happened inside the convention center.
And they dealt with it.
It happened at a bar, off-site.
Right.
So, like, what does that have to do with Gen Con?
Nothing.
And, like,
So,
I hate that they just bring that in.
Exactly.
You got punched in the face because of whatever your views are on YouTube, and somebody didn't agree with it, and they decided to go all caveman on you.
And we don't know what happened there.
That's your fucking problem.
We don't know what this guy was doing. Well, like, I don't know anything. But, all right, so there's a really bad incident that happened in Gen Con. This guy can't go into the convention center for 2 years itself. He's blacklisted from Gen Con. He can't go back at all. He's gone.
Yeah, well, that's
so
what
they
you get
dealt
for
with
being
it.
a creep.
Exactly, and so what we're saying is, if shit happens there, they'll deal with it. They can't protect your ass 3 blocks away from the convention center. No, you're off site.
Yeah.
So let the Indianapolis police deal with it. I'm sure they'll figure it out. So
I'm sure.
I'm sorry, I'm fired up. Fired up.
I'm sure the Indianapolis police have better shit to deal with. Yeah. And forgive all the language. Forgive it.
Don't forgive it.
All right, fuck you guys.
One more thing. Probably the greatest thing to happen this week, and I might want to let you tell the story because you actually got a bird's eye view of this. We're walking into the convention center, and what happens?
We're drinking at Sun King. Everybody's got to go to the bathroom. We're walking in. We're power walking. And Gary goes, Eric Lang! And he gives Eric Lang a high five while he's on the cell phone call. And it's like, we love Eric Lang. And I was just like,
oh my God. That's Eric
Lang. He's really tall. And we go to the bathroom, and I was just like, dude, that was like the best thing I've ever seen. It was a pretty good weekend. I might have seen some cooler stuff, but in that moment, it was one of the greatest things I ever experienced at Gen Con.
I just played it cool, man. Maybe I was a little drunk. I just walked by. I was like, Eric Lang, high five, just walked by. Didn't say another word to him.
It was amazing.
Oh, that's the fun that happens at Gen Con, man. I mean, you run into Eric Lang randomly.
Yeah, that's what's really cool about it. We saw a bunch of people that we respect in the media, and that just provides you an opportunity to say hi. Yeah,
especially when you're really drunk.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you have any games that you felt like you missed out on, but I felt like there was a couple that I missed out. And I'm not even going to like talk about them in depth. I'm just going to say,
just name them, yeah.
Probably I felt like one of the biggest games of Gen Con was Root. I didn't get into that game much. I saw a lot of people with Detective. Mm-hmm. And we looked for this game. We could not find it. We were looking for Holding On, A Troubled Life of Billy Kerr. I looked on the map. I scoured that place. I must have missed it, or they weren't there. I could not figure it out.
I couldn't find it. We tried. And we were like diligently like, we want to try this game. We're in that mode like, I want to try this game right this second. We have time to do it, and we just couldn't find it. We couldn't find the place. Hub Games, couldn't find them. Just couldn't, and that was it. I didn't demo Coimbra, and I wanted to.
Okay.
I saw lots of people playing it. It's a dice drafting game. It looks really cool. It's got pretty components. A Euro-ish style game. So I wanted to try that.
I wanted to try Gen 7, but that was just burnt slap up with a bunch of people.
Yeah, that's that new Crossroads game, so it's going to be super hot. We said it multiple times, like, let's go do Gen 7. I also wanted to demo Dinosaur Island. That game's been out for a while, but that was something we were like, let's go demo it because we want to.
Right.
And there's just so many games, to be honest.
I know.
Any of the Century games, I feel like we're missing out on something. Those games are super hot, and the new one was selling like crazy. Eastern something, I can't remember. There's Century Spice Road, there's Century Golems or something like that. There's a bunch of those games. I want to try some of those games, and one of them was just released at Gen Con. There's just so much. Mm-hmm. It's almost too much, and to keep up with it all is a little overwhelming. I might just start playing Magic.
Well, we already are, so
it would be cheaper if I played Magic.
You're right. You're right, because you can just go there. You can have your own decks. You can join the tournaments.
I can look up all the good cards online from the new stuff. It's not that expensive. Like, you're like, oh, it's expensive.
Now we're justifying the cost.
I paid $300 for Batman. I can build a killer Magic deck for $300.
Mom, it's only $300, and I can win. Oh man, we're in that we're in that phase of justifying the cost. Oh no, Magic-itis is bad. Oh, I got it so bad.
I had a pretty severe Gen Con hangover.
Did you?
Not from drinking, just the all of it.
Yeah,
like a mental exhaustion that rolled. Like I left town on a Sunday.
Same.
I was tired on Monday. I was tired on Tuesday. Today's the first day I kind of feel like mentally, physically, like kind of getting back in the right groove. But
yeah, I
didn't get the con crud. I did a really good job staying hydrated, taking vitamins. We were exercising fairly well by walking lots of miles. We took care of our bodies. That's something I can't stress enough to people. Like, I think people abuse their bodies. I saw some people struggling. Some people I felt sorry for.
There was a guy we were behind, and he had a gym bag, like you get in high,
big old gym bag.
And he was like, he's a big dude, and he was just dragging this thing. He couldn't even be bothered to carry it. It was just like scraping on the ground.
That guy was tired.
Oh my gosh!
I feel for a lot of people because I know they're not really ready for that. And if I feel rough with that floor, they gotta feel rough, especially if you're not staying in the best of shape. So I feel okay now, but there was a severe Gen Con hangover.
Oh,
and it
Monday.
was just like to leave that hotel and to leave your friends behind, but also just like the hustle and the bustle. It felt good to get away from it,
Yeah.
But you almost miss it.
This is honestly, I'm not kidding. This is probably the first year in 10 years where leaving on a Sunday I was sad. And usually by Sunday I'm ready to go home. And I'm not even kidding, man. Like when we got late checkout in this hotel, and we stayed every single second until we had to leave that room. And I was just like, man, I'm gonna miss this.
I was like cleaning the room, like, well, it's gotta be nice for the cleaning lady,
right?
We don't want we don't want to be slobs. Like,
I was so bummed. And seriously, like usually by Sunday, I'm so ready to be home, and I was just like, there's so much more I wanted to do this year. And what's funny is I don't feel like there's a game that really came out this year that was just like the super hotness, like Terraforming Mars or whatever. There just wasn't that this year. And it was so freeing. Like, you know what I mean? We did a lot. We didn't play as many games as I thought we were going to play, but we demoed a lot of games. We saw a lot. It was so neat to actually do what you want and do what you said you were going to do. And we really did that this year. We got a lot of footage. We blew up our Instagram as best as we could this year. We could have did more, but we tried to go out of the way to sightsee, to have fun, and do all this great stuff. And this is one of the best Gen Cons. I know,
and live in the moment. Sometimes it's like you're projecting forward several days ahead. I got to get to this moment. I got to get to this moment. And it's like sometimes it was fun just to like. I just like looking out the window right now and enjoying.
Oh, that's what I did too. And we had a group. We did that podcast with John and Roger and Bruce, and like that's great company, man. Like, we just had such a good weekend. I just liked being around those guys, being around you guys, and just having fun. And we we're just joking, and it's just so enjoyable just to have that, because everyone grows up, you get married, like me, Bruce, Roger, and me, Bruce, and Roger are all married. You and John are in a relationship. John lives in Vegas. You finally moved back home, so I get to see you more. But it was so fun just enjoying each other's company. And like, I mean, you and I are hams, so we like making those guys laugh. We'll say ridiculous shit every now and then. It's just, I like hearing Roger's laugh. It's very funny to me when I hear his laugh. And and Bruce has a chuckle. When I get that certain chuckle out of him, I've done my job. So. I've gotten to know John over the couple of years, and I get really excited when I see him. Like I go from like 1 to 2 inches, so I just
6 to midnight.
But yeah, it was such an enjoyable Gen Con, and this, for different reasons, might be one of my favorite Gen Cons of all time.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's up there. It's up there with one of the all-time greats for me. So, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to share? I mean, overall, it sold out. It was cluttered. It was chaos, but I really miss it.
I do. I really do. I don't really have a lot of final thoughts. It's just, now that after we talked about it, I wish people would just relax and try to give people the benefit of the doubt. These are weird times. Everybody feels like everybody's against everybody. It's a very divisive time, and it's going to get better. And you just have to give people the benefit of the doubt. Just relax and have fun. Go there without an agenda. Just go there to play games. There's people that go there, because they're content creators, or they're there for other certain reasons to sell or whatever, make money. I felt so freeing that, I can go there. My content that I create is just a passion of myself and yourself. I don't care if I ever make a dime off this. I would love to make a dime.
Give me
just
a dime.
I just want a dime. And it's just,
we're going to start a Patreon. It's going to start at
a
one dime.
One dime, and then we're good. We've hit our goal.
Who wants to give that first dime?
And so, I just saw it from a different light. I just see it as a place. It's a safe haven. It's a place that I go to, that I look forward to every year for 4 days, that I get to spend my life doing something that I don't do normally every day. I love my family. I love the rigmarole of trying to, raise my daughters, teach them right, help them in sports, help them in school, working together with my wife to do this, but 4 days a year, I get to forget that and just be a kid again. And I wish people would remember that this is what that's all about. Yeah. And that's just really being lost there. And when people start bringing in agendas and politics, it's not fun anymore. It's not what it's about. So I just want people to have fun. Enjoy yourself. Don't take things too seriously, and just enjoy variety in yourself, in your life, and all the activities that you do. So that's all I have to say. Matthew, this has been a great podcast, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Next podcast, I want to get to a lot of games. We've got a lot of stuff lined up, so we're going to be actually talking more games instead of just experiences. Mm-hmm. So I got to say, these last 2 podcasts have been really fun, just talking about the act of setting up gaming sessions and all this other stuff. But now these next few podcasts are just going to be chock full of games.
Sure, and definitely going to go deeper on Forbidden Sky and The Mind, and hopefully Brass here pretty soon. So we'll have some really good content coming up. Thank you for listening to our post-Gen Con 2018 show. This has been the Fighting Dirty Podcast. You can follow us on many different social media platforms. I suggest you go to Instagram for the Fighting Dirty Podcast, all one word. And we're trying to be very active on there. So engage with us. It may take me a day or 2 to get back to you, but I'm trying to post pictures daily, because every time I post a picture, we get a follower.
Yeah.
And so things are going very well on Instagram.
Those Russian bots have been following the crap out of us, man.
But it's blowing up.
But yeah, check out our Instagram. Matt did a really good job this weekend of putting some really interesting stuff up there. Some funny videos, some really, really neat pictures. Check it out. It's really great.
We're also on Twitter, Fighting_Dirty. On Facebook, we have the Fighting Dirty Podcast page. Check us out. I'm trying to upload some stuff from Instagram to there. I don't have those 2 things linked. My bad. Send us an email, fightingdirtypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Gary, for joining me on the show. We're out of here.
Live in love.